Hey there and welcome back to Mutant Year Zero. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of our Iron Mutant playthrough. In the last video we completed the first of Pripp's side missions by returning to the High Road. In the process we also unlocked the Vampire achievement and afterwards cleared out the Hall of Electric Coffins. All of that did not really get us any closer to finding Goran though, so today we will continue our search, but first let's pay a visit to the Ark's residence, starting with Delta in the Fix Pit.
Hello, Stalkers. Heard you met more ghouls. Huh. Thought we got rid of all of them. Filthy freethinkers. Someone should deal with them.
Now the first thing we'll do here is to give our crossbow a long overdue upgrade, as we actually have another red eye lying around with which we can improve its critical hit chance. Afterwards we can then scroll down to find the EMP gun GJP X93, which we are going to upgrade straight to level 3. The old ancient eye from the crossbow can then go on there, and so can the Driver 100 for a little bit of extra critical hit damage.
Bye bye, Stalkers!
And following that, we can now bring another artifact over to Pripp's place.
Greetings. I was programmed by Pripp to pull grog and dabble in black market antiquity trading.
Although it honestly does not really matter which of the 3 remaining upgrades we pick here, let us go with the one that improves our damage first, considering our current playstyle that seems to be the most suitable.
Good luck in the zone. I hope you die, so I can heal you.
And with that out of the way, let's now get a few wise words from Iridia and then from the Elder Pripp.
I hear the ghouls are on the run. Don't flatter yourself they're not scared of stalkers. Not saying you're bad stalkers, you're the best. But there must be something really nasty out there to make them run like that. Until next time.
Hey, I loved and respected the Elder as much as the next mutant. We all did. Now he's run away and left us. I don't want to speculate, but I think he went looking for more of those ancient chronicles that were tucked away in the bushes. Later, Stalkers. Trust no one, okay? It's getting weird around here.
Right, and so we are now finally ready to go, and we will be starting things off today with Dux, Pharaoh and Magnus. Mutation-wise though, there is really not a whole lot to say. Magnus is in the squad mainly for his super chain lightning, while Pharaoh has arguably become the staple of this series with her Wings of the Sniper Gunslinger combination. And lastly we have Dux, who has Circuit Breaker equipped, and with good reason. After all, our first destination here today is a return trip to the Sea Titans, where a ghoul called Pod Lover is said to be hiding, so we are likely going to run into plenty of mechanical enemies. Now, unlike last time on the High Road, this time we are actually starting at the normal entry of the map, so it will take us a few moments here until we meet our first enemies. However, having already cleared this map once, we still do not want to rush through it blindly, because just like on the High Road last time, a good amount of loot has been respawned, and although we are swimming in scrap and weapon parts, and thankfully in medikits as well, we still need to collect at least all of the scrap that we can find, as we are still a little less than 200 units shy of the 600 that we need to collect for the Skinflint achievement. By the way, the gate here is only open because we already unlocked it as part of our base game playthrough. Had we not done that, the area behind it would now be inaccessible.
Regroup.
Some switching between characters then also saves us a few seconds, and with that we have made it to the first encounter.
Okay, you little mutant. Gather what you can. I want all of the scrap.
So that may have been the voice of Pod Lover, but our first target is just a plain old police bot enforcer, and we are not going to do anything crazy here. A simple circuit breaker should be enough to get us going.
I did that. What do you think about that, huh?
And with the bot isolated and disabled, this should be an easy fight.
Say my name, Chiswipe. It's Pharaoh. Yes!
If you are wondering, by the way, why we are not using our shiny new EMP pistol, then there is an easy reason for that, the simple fact that it makes noise. That is also the reason why the weapon will likely not make an appearance in this entire episode, as we almost always have better options available. If we want to remain stealthy, then Circuit Breaker works just as well. And with Dux, Pharaoh, and theoretically also with Big Khan, we have plenty of candidates to use it with. And if we can go loud, then we have not yet met a single bot in this game that we cannot kill with any of our big guns.
Get over here!
Now, be that as it may, we are already preparing for our next fight here, which mainly requires a bit of patience, at least if we want to do it as efficiently as possible. Sure, we could also use the fact that the police bot is once again isolated and repeat the entire process from earlier, but where would be the fun in that? So instead, we are waiting until both robots are a bit closer together, and then we spring our trap. Now, this time we are actually not going for any sort of EMP stun. Instead, we can do 15 points of damage per robot with Magnus's Super Chain Lightning. To follow up on that, we can then actually go loud with Pharaoh here, but only because we timed the enemy pathing just right. Make no mistake about it, there are still plenty more hostiles on this map.
I am the beautiful weapon. What do you think about that?
And so only the Enforcer now remains, but with barely enough hit points to present any sort of challenge. And there we go, we have made it to level 98, and we can use that to just very quickly max out Pharaoh's mutations and stats, as she now receives the final health upgrade for 16 points here, and with that she is now as powerful as she possibly can be.
Get over here.
After the fight, we can then collect a few goodies and also grab a hold of a brand new weapon.
Yeah, prize time.
Now, this gun right here is a modified version of the Rambino, and it might not look like much at first. That is until you notice that it is silent. And as such, it is an absolute game changer in my opinion, because it is the only available upgrade in the entire game to the silent weapons that we have been using since basically the first episode. Fully upgraded, this Wraith is noticeably stronger than, for example, the Ancient Pistol. It also has more range and more ammunition. The only thing it's really lacking is a solid critical hit chance, but at this stage in the game our mutants have more than enough ways to fix that. Now for the next encounter here, we are still going with the old loadout though, and for a change we are starting things off with one of our many EMP grenades. Unfortunately, this time we have to remain stealthy because there is one more enemy nearby that could hear us. Good for us that for some reason Magnus's Chain Lightning is considered silent. And with no pressure to kill here, let's do the sensible thing and target the enemy with more HP. The rest of this fight is then a rather uneventful affair, I think. Dux can follow things up with another shot right away.
Does that hurt?
Pharaoh can follow suit and perhaps already get the kill.
Give up now and I'll go easy on ya.
And after doing so, Magnus can focus on the other bot. And because EMP grenades basically last forever at this point, we even have another turn here to finish the job. Right, and with that another level up is awarded and we are getting closer and closer to the magical 100. For the moment though, we only have to make one minor change, and that is to give Dux the Eagle Eye mutation for just a little bit more weapon range. In exchange, we are giving up on critical hit chance, but for the next encounter we do not need that. It will be enough if Pharaoh lands a critical, and if things go according to plan here, then she is guaranteed to do so. First of all though, let us once again start things off with a Super Chain Lightning. And now we can switch over to Dux, who may or may not get a critical.
Does that hurt?
And he does, so Pharaoh does not even need hers.
You don't know who you're messing with.
Right, and that is the first enemy on the ferry taken out without even stepping foot on the boat, which is going to make the rest of the mission just a tiny bit easier.
Okay, back me up.
Speaking of which, for those final fights, we do of course want to give Dux his Silent Assassin back, as we only have 2 more enemies left on this map. Both of them are located on the ferry here, and they usually stay quite far away from each other, so we should be able to ambush them both and leave them little chance of survival. And there we go, our second to last enemy is another Polyspot enforcer, and for this one we are going back to what already worked nicely against the first one we encountered, a stealthy combination of Wings of the Sniper and Circuit Breaker.
Now it's getting fun.
And so, once again, I don't think I have to say much about how the rest of this fight is going to go.
I'm the hero, you're the zero. Come get some!
Just a few more silent shots and this enemy here will also go up in a sparking explosion.
Don't get stupid!
Now, if you really want to, there might be a way to tackle these last two enemies in one and the same fight, but I have found that involves a lot of waiting around for both of them to be in roughly the same area of the ship, so in my opinion it is usually not worth the effort.
Give up now and I'll go easy on ya. That score hurts.
Also, even if it succeeds, then there is still a good chance of both enemies being on different height levels, which of course further complicates things.
Come back here.
Now at this point, the ship is more or less cleared, the only enemy remaining is Bot Lover himself. Per the mission's description from Pripp, we also already know that Bot Lover is the only non-mechanical enemy on the map. But honestly, that hardly makes any difference at this point, because after just a few more seconds of waiting, we can now unleash with our loudest and most powerful weapons. And with Pharaoh wielding the deadliest of them all, she will go first.
I am the beautiful weapon. That's from me!
With Magnus then we can move up right into the enemy's face, although even if he crits, that will not be enough for the kill just yet.
Stay away from me!
And so the honors of dealing the final blow are once again going to Dux, who I'm sure will gladly oblige and put an end to Bot Lover's love for bots.
Yeah. Coming.
And there we are. Not only have we made it to the illustrious level 100, but we have also cleared out the Sea Titans for the second time in this series. Before we fast travel ourselves to the next location though, there is one more thing we need to grab, because that Medbot we killed earlier from across the way did drop some loot as well, and we don't want to leave without it. Once everything is in our possession though, we can set course for the Under-Ark, our next, and if the map here is to be believed, perhaps also last stop before we'll finally be able to catch up to Goran.
Okay, when Pripp told us Goran was hiding out in a secret ark, he didn't mention the dark, scary tunnel part. You know how I feel about dark, scary tunnels. I specifically told Pripp, no more tunnels, especially if they're 1, dark, and 2, scary.
Right, and after a bit of climbing, we can now find our second note from Goran.
I did it. I found the secret settlement. It wasn't hard at all. The stupid elder preaches such lies. The Ark deserves him. But here, the people know a god when they see him. So of course they let me stay. It's safe in these tunnels, close to the earth, far from the ghouls. Much better than that rusty death trap over a raging river. Here, underground, the roots in the earth no longer whisper. They shout. They promise me a reward of even greater powers. Just north of here, inside a great tree. If I obtain these powers, Goran will be unstoppable, and revenge will be mine. Goran out.
Now, it looks like Goran was here, but he may have moved on. At least, that is what we can assume after he mentioned that great tree north of here. And so we are following in his footsteps, also going north, and quickly encounter our first enemy. Isolated and with only 20 hit points though, this one should be easy to defeat.
Gotcha! I'm the hero, you're the zero.
You did good.
Now, there are a few more enemies close by, but we can do some looting first, which also includes another outfit chest.
Ah, I like surprises.
Right, so with bonuses to weapon range and movement range, this is a rather powerful hat, and therefore one that we will be equipping shortly. Before we do so, however, we can also put the herpes mask on Dux, which also allows us to permanently switch him over to Eagle Eye for extra weapon range without sacrificing any critical hit chance, at least as long as he's hidden. For the next fight then, we are switching out Magnus in favor of Selma. Her Treecaster ability will be very useful in this fight, as we have a tank to deal with and no high ground anywhere in the vicinity. So let's quickly get everyone positioned and then start our ambush, which begins, as it does so often, with a combination attack from Pharaoh using Wings of the Sniper and Gunslinger.
Say my name, Jizwipe. It's Pharaoh. Gotcha.
Still, we won't be able to kill the pod tank on this turn, so let's do the next best thing and root them in place. And after a critical hit from Selma here, we can now take out the spawner, which is actually number 3 in this playthrough, and we need 2 more for an achievement. First of all though, a critical hit from Dux sets up the tank for the kill.
I am the beautiful weapon. Yes!
Unfortunately though, Pharaoh cannot follow things up with a critical of her own, so Selma will have to move in to finish the job. And there we are, the first 3 enemies of the map are down and we have gained another level, and at this point we already want to switch Selma back out and bring in Big Khan. Khan will then also be the recipient of the blue oyster cap. The extra weapon range will come in handy, especially with the rather short-ranged LP50. And speaking of weapon range, that is actually also why we are now switching Pharaoh from the needle pistol to the Wraith, because while Gunslinger removes any aim penalties from range, it does not increase a weapon's range as a whole, so an enemy that is out of range remains out of range. Now you'll see in a moment why that might be important. In the meantime though, we have picked up another side quest from Pripp, and this one will take us back to the House of Bones. The mission description on the left here also mentions the Tanker twins, and from that name alone it might not be completely unlikely that we'll be running into 2 tanks, so we better bring some heavy machinery. For the moment though, we want to continue to explore the Under-Ark, and we are once again moving in a bit of a zigzag pattern here to not miss out on any loot and to avoid unnecessary backtracking.
Wow, look at this place. It's huge. Reminds me of back home, except there's no people. My feathers are tingling. Where is everybody?
Everybody's dead. Look at the corpses tied up in those vines. The whole town got their juices sucked out. Listen to me. Goran controls plans, yeah? But now he's into genocide? Something's up.
Right, so we have found our next group of enemies, and this one once again involves a bit of waiting, as we want that second pot burner to return so that all 3 enemies are close together. Once that is the case, we can then move in with Big Khan and blast them all with his flame puke. Following that, we now have to get just 1 kill with Dux, which is easily done.
Bingo!
Ah! You do you, Stalker!
And which allows us to once again use Pharaoh's Wings of the Sniper Gunslinger combination, which is also why she has the Wraith equipped to be able to hit that pod spawner in the back.
You don't know? Give up now and I'll go easy on ya. That's from me!
I owe you a grog. That was amazing.
And with that, we now only have the pod spawner left, and despite 4 points of armor, we can take that out silently.
I'm the hero, you're the 0. That's gotta hurt.
The critical from Pharaoh here is obviously nice, but not necessary for that, and the same goes for Big Khan.
You deserve it.
In the end, Dux is still guaranteed to crit, and that is enough. So, we have now taken out pod spawner number 4 and we have once again advanced the level, which now gives us enough points to unlock Big Khan's super tendons. Without an ability like Moth Wings, this is arguably his best way to reliably get the high ground, and that high ground might come in handy at some point as he has access to Gunslinger as well, and as you've seen, we have not really used that much.
Hey, follow me.
At this point, we can now collect some loot from the enemy camp and then take a quick turn to the left here, where we discover a rather interesting sight.
Wow, now that is a lake. It's huge. Bonus points for being underground. Nice job, Lake. Really nice job.
The destroyer on the left, by the way, will be ignored for now. We'll take care of that later.
This place is a breeding home for Pod Ghouls.
Instead, our next target is now once again an easy one in an isolated pod burner, and as long as we stay hidden, everyone gets guaranteed criticals, so this one should be over in just a few seconds.
Too easy!
Damn, I'm good. Come on.
Now at this point we have yet another pod spawner ahead of us and a second enemy on the roof above it, and it is actually very important that we engage that enemy in a way that also alerts the spawner. So while we could go for a silent approach against the jumper here, that would actually defeat our completionist purposes, because for some reason there is no way in this game to ambush isolated pod spawners on their own. There always has to be another enemy present, otherwise the ambush prompt will not appear, so in our quest to fully and thoroughly clear the map, we have to plan accordingly. That is why, for this fight, we are going to make some noise, starting with a guaranteed critical hit from Big Khan.
Cover, dumbass.
Following that, we can then break stealth with Pharaoh, which of course reduces our expected damage output, but since our enemy is completely unarmored, a regular hit from the PC-98 will be enough to finish the job.
I am the beautiful weapon. Enough of that!
And thanks to the high ground and the extra range from Eagle Eye, Dux does not even have to move an inch.
Yeah, I did that. What do you think about that, huh?
And with the spawner taking a while to actually spit something out, we have more than enough time here to shoot again.
Gotcha.
And that critical was enough so that Pharaoh can now deal the killing blow.
I'm the hero, you're the zero.
Follow me.
And there we go, the Ripley would be proud achievement has been unlocked, but the map is not quite clear just yet. At this point, I also want to mention that I have a sneaking suspicion that Dux's herpes mask might not be working as intended, because in the last two fights that lasted for more than one round, he twice got guaranteed critical hits for being hidden, even though that technically was not the case. So either the herpes mask always gives us a critical hit, whether we're hidden or not, which would obviously be a bug, or this has something to do with the unique detection mechanics of pod spawners, but in that case Pharaoh's silent assassin should have triggered in that fight against the two pod burners earlier as well, and it didn't.
Looks like the tunnel collapsed. Can't get through this way.
Now, if it is indeed a bug, then some of you may have experienced it as well, and if you have, then I would be happy if you could leave a quick note in the comments. If that is the case, then we will of course not be using the herpes mask for the rest of the series going forward. In the grand scheme of things, especially for a character like Dux, it also doesn't change much. Like I said in the last episode, it would be much more game-changing for a character like Bormin, for example. In any case, as you can see, we are currently sneaking up on our last pair of enemies, one of which is once again a pod spawner, so we have to time this just right so that we can take them out both. The reason why we have saved these two for last is the fact that the other enemy is a destroyer, and as you might remember, their hand grenade explodes when they die, which has the potential to alert nearby enemies. At this point though, there are no other enemies left, and so we can now unleash an absolute barrage here, starting with a gunslinger from Big Khan.
My world.
And that was nice, so let's do it twice. After all, this is Pharaoh's bread and butter mutation as well.
Give up now and I'll go easy on you. That's your hurt.
Bullseye.
And that leaves only the spawner, an easy task for ducks.
Coming?
And there we go, as we make it to level 104, the Under-Ark has been cleared. Inside of the shack here we can now find another note, this one once again spilling some rumors, for example about a weapon out in the metal fields, as well as about some triangle going on with Pripp and Iridia involved, and finally about a beast named Black Ploppy, but unfortunately no location is mentioned. Speaking of locations though, we are about to make our way over to the next one here, which is where we are supposed to find Goran, if the map marker here is correct. We can also already see though that there are a few other areas going off of it, which might indicate that our journey is not going to come to an end that soon. For today though, we have come as far as we'll get, so with the frozen city now discovered, let us return to the Ark real quick to wrap up today's episode. Now, for the next one, you'll likely have to be a bit patient. I have mentioned this already in my channel update video, but I'll be on holiday for most of the month of September. As a matter of fact, as you're watching this, I am probably already gone. Nonetheless, our adventure will of course continue as soon as possible. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.